Welcome to Truck Chat, a video interview series coming to you from Work Truck. I'm Lauren Fletcher, Executive Editor of Work Truck, and today we're here to learn more about ClearPathGPS, including what trends are being seen in the small business field services market relative to fleet management, and how GPS tracking is paving the way. This episode is sponsored by ClearPathGPS, which was first launched in 2013 and is focused on helping customers improve their operations and bottom line. The company's GPS fleet tracking solutions provide real-time data insights and tools to more effectively manage the vehicles, people, and assets that businesses send into the field every day. Chatting with me today is Steve Wells, co-founder and CRO for ClearPathGPS. Steve is no stranger to the world of technology and fleet software solutions, with a history of revenue-focused roles for 20 plus years, with more than 15 of those years in the GPS tracking space. Thanks for joining us today, Steve.
Thanks, Lauren. Glad to be here.
Before we dive in, can you share a bit about ClearPathGPS and the customers you serve?
Yeah, so ClearPath, we service really thousands of customers nationwide, really focused on helping businesses run their operations without blind spots, like we say. So we really focus at that small to mid-sized market fleet, so say 20 to 100 units, heavily focused at that field service fleet. So lots of plumbers, HVAC, construction, that type of thing. And we really focus in on helping the business owners and managers of those businesses who are running, they're running a business, not just a fleet. So they really need to have a tool that's going to actually help them run the better business, not just dots on a map.
That makes sense. Tell me about some of the trends you're currently seeing relative to the growth of GPS tracking for small business field services.
Yeah, well, like you said, I've been in this space for 15 years now. And certainly the cost of the devices and the cost of actually implementing this technology has gotten a lot less expensive. And as a result, there's much greater adoption, even in smaller fleets. But I think the thing that I've really seen in the last few years is a real sophistication out of the buyer. And what I mean by that is those buyers are actually wanting to do more with that data. They're expecting more out of those devices to give them much more insight into their business, not just like I said, not just a dot on a map, but they really want that data to flow throughout their organization and give them meaningful insights that they can actually take action on. And the other big trend is they're actually asking more from a vendor like us than just simply provide them technology. They also want to have someone who can help interpret that data or help actually make real world decisions with that data and educate them on how to actually manage their businesses better with it.
So really looking for a partnership.
Yeah, really a consultant, someone who's a consultant in that area and can actually, help them leverage that as opposed to just simply being a consumer of it.
That makes sense. Let's discuss the upcoming 4G communications network upgrade. What is the impact to GPS tracking and field services?
Well, once again, this is not the first time we've sort of seen this story, right, with the 2G shutdowns in the past. And, once again, we've learned a lot of lessons from that. And one of the things is to be very proactive. The ultimate goal here is to make sure that our customers, when that day comes, when those networks shut down, that it's a non-event for them. So being well ahead of it, well proactive on it. But, obviously the big benefit for all of us in this space is that we're sort of, with the advent of 4G and particularly with the Cat-M devices that are going to be kind of off on their own network, we sort of are, getting off this treadmill of, 4G, 5G, and whatever's coming next, right? So it gives some real stability and longevity to the telematics industry and the GPS tracking space particularly, and allows us to make better, deeper investments in that technology and, build on it, frankly. But the other big thing is that, for the day-to-day operator, they just don't want to be bothered by this. And so they need someone who's going to actually be, like I said, proactive on this, make it really easy and, make sure that that day is a non-event when those networks get turned down. And that's our goal here with our customers.
You mentioned longevity and stability, and I think that definitely stability matters quite a bit to especially work truck fleets with so much changing in today's environment.
Absolutely, yeah.
And talking of change, the elephant in the room, 1 year into the COVID pandemic, how impacted is the small business field services market relative to fleet management and GPS tracking?
Yeah, so as we're recording this, we're literally 1 year into the pandemic, and going back, it was a deer in the headlight moment for the many of our customers in many industries that we serve. So what we saw clearly was we saw some customers in those, say, hospitality spaces and things like that. And, unfortunately, it was almost like a fatal blow to them in those spaces. But the vast majority of our clients at ClearPath are in that essential services market. So like I said, the plumbers, the HVAC construction, those types of people. And in many of those cases, while they all had that kind of hold your breath for a couple of months, and we made sure we were partnering with them, and if we needed anybody who needed, frankly, billing relief or things like that to make sure they got through a tough patch, we were there for them because we knew they'd be back. And sure enough, a lot of those people were back at it. And in fact, 1 year on, the good news is we are seeing a lot of our clients adding trucks. So that's a real sign of health in the industry when you start to see an order come through because a fleet of 25 trucks just bought 3 new trucks. They're literally investing in their business again. And that's a really healthy sign that America's back to work.
That's great to hear. Can we take a moment to look at and discuss the larger trend of the convergence of GPS data and its positive impact on the entire fleet operation?
Yeah, so kind of like I said earlier, I mean, the big trend is that people want out of that data. Going back in time when it was like, hey, there's a dot on a map and I know how fast my guy was going. Now that's table stakes stuff. What they want is data that's basically flowing throughout the organization. So as an example, integrations are really critical for any telematics, certainly solution. But like I said, the even small customers who are running kind of a mom and pop shop, they're very sophisticated now on what they want from that data. So for example, things like, we partner with companies like Fleetio or Service Titan, where our data is integrated with that. We basically can provide, value-added services that are flowing through those systems. With our open API, we've done integrations with all sorts of other systems, even unique circumstances. But they're all driven by this real thirst for data to be actionable and usable across an organization. Even at some of the smallest companies that you can think of, they know the value of that data and they want to see how they can actually leverage it. And like I said, the other big trend is they want who can not just sort of feed that data to them, but actually help them make sense of it and actually turn it into actionable things that will really benefit their operations.
That seems like a perfect time to ask if you have any real world examples about GPS data benefits running in these businesses that you might be free to share.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, as anyone in this space knows, I mean, really one of the big, the big 3 areas that people really look to is, cutting costs, lowering risks, or mitigating, protecting their assets, of course, and then better customer service and better customer experience. So those are kind of the key 3 areas that people are getting benefits from. But cutting costs or time card padding and mitigating maintenance and fuel costs, which are really big issues now, especially right now as we're recording this, we're starting to see nationwide fuel prices rise again. So we're actually talking to a lot more customers who are saying, hey, this is starting to come and show up in my bottom line. How do I really make sure that I'm cutting back on my fuel usage or making sure that those costs are really under control? Lowering those risks. For example, dash cams have become very prevalent, a very hot topic right now, and we're seeing a real uptake in our dash cam solutions. And people want to basically make sure that they're in a sea of rising insurance premiums. They want to make sure that they are not subject to being canceled or having catastrophic insurance premium rises because of an accident or unsafe driving behavior that results in some liability. So we're seeing people be very proactive on that. Just as an example, we have a large lawn care company in Florida, and we were recently talking to them, and they did a 2-year analysis on the benefits of their GPS tracking system, and they saw that they had actually saved $160,000 over that period. And the thing that was really interesting about that is they said they were able to actually turn that around and buy new trucks for a number of their managers. So they turned that right into a tangible benefit for the teams that were basically, leveraging that data to run a better operation. But clearly, the theft recovery is also another big one where we see that quite literally. We hear about them almost every single month here at ClearPath of someone basically recovering a stolen vehicle, and those are only the ones we hear about. And as everyone knows, getting your vehicle back is about getting the tools back just as much as it is getting the vehicles back.
Oh yeah.
So once again, yeah, costs, lowering risk, better customer service. Those are the key areas where people are leveraging that data to run a better business.
That's great. And I think, you touched on a great point. We're definitely hearing a lot about rising insurance costs, but theft is still something that's
Yeah,
big. And with the investments that they're making into the tools, the equipment, the
right.
upfits, everything else beyond the truck,
Yeah, yeah,
that's a huge, huge expense.
right, right.
Well, Steve, I can't tell you how much I've appreciated your time and input today. Before we wrap up, is there anything else that you wanted to share with our audience?
Well, just that obviously, like I said, data is king out there right now. And one of the things that we really realized and we made a big investment in as a company here is investing in our customer success group that is all about understanding how to help our customers use that data to become a tool in their operations and not just, like I said, a dot on a map. And so I think that's really the trend you're going to see. And that's a place where we really hope to differentiate, is really providing that insight into the business, particularly for someone who, like I said, is they're not just running a fleet, they're running a business, and the fleet is a component of that. And they want a vendor who can help support them in that.
Well, thank you so much, Steve. It has been great talking with you. And thanks to everybody who tuned in today to our episode of Truck Chat, sponsored by ClearPathGPS. Stay tuned for our next episode.